Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This channel, I discuss my love for books and just other subjects that interest me. In this video, I'm going to discuss what I prefer. Do I prefer an e-reader or do I prefer the physical book? So I've currently been reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in physical form. I'm a little more than halfway through it. And I also am reading on a Kobo. I'm currently reading Flesh by David Salzley. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. I don't think I am, but this is a book here that I picked up or downloaded from my library. So flat out, if I were to pick a form of media, I would definitely pick the physical book. And I'll tell you why. Nothing beats a physical book. I find I do retain a bit more information when I'm reading the physical book. Although I know I am retaining from my e-reader as well, because I actually had a dream about this novel last night. So my brain is obviously processing what I'm reading. I picked this up from the library, and you can see it just tells me it expires in 17 days, and I'm about 39% of the way through it. So it's actually a pretty good book. I'll talk about this book later in a review or a breakdown. I won the Booker's Prize for 2025 last year, and yesterday or the day before I saw that they just released the new list for the 2026 year. So I'll have to look at those at some point and see if there's anything there I would be interested in reading. But the reason why I prefer a physical book is there's so much you can do. You can take notes in it. I like to highlight words I don't know or I need a refresher on for their definition. And you can also communicate with the book. You can communicate with the author. So here, for example, I have, "This is the second time you have spoken out of turn, Miss Granger," said Snape coldly. 5 more points from Gryffindor for being an insufferable know-it-all." Hermione went very red, put down her hand, and stared at the floor with her eyes full of tears. So from that passage right there, I just simply put, those are the worst, because anybody who's been in school or has been in the workplace, at least for me, I always found the insufferable know-it-alls to be the worst. I was not a fan of the teacher's pets or someone who just tries to show off at work. It can get kind of annoying. And then I also just said here, when her eyes were full of tears, I underlined it and I said, "Girl, really?" Because I couldn't understand why she'd be upset over that. Like, okay, the teacher doesn't like what you have to say, but we all know Hermione is teacher's pet, so she does care what the teachers have to say. And here is another example here. So I said, "With my bitter sidelog looks and some sullen muttering, the class opened their books." So I didn't know what sullen meant, so I had to underline it. But you can kind of see what it means from the sentence. "With many bitter sidelog looks and some sullen muttering, the class opened their books." So they're obviously like kind of depressed, but I don't usually hear that word, so I underlined it. And that's just like some of the things you get from a physical book. I love the touch and the feel of the pages. I love the smell. There's just something like magical about books. like physical books. There's something more romantic, honestly, to it. And again, it's not about the aesthetics of reading, but when you actually have a book in your hand, there's no extra distractions. There's nothing that can possibly break your focus. As much as I love the e-reader for its backlight and reading at night, you know, there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of options, and it is nice you can increase the font size if that's what you need. But it's so easy to be distracted, and you know, I feel like it's not solely just you in the book when you're on a physical read, when you're on an e-reader. So I personally like to keep the font small, so size doesn't really matter to me that much. But there's so many things you can do. You can change the font. You can, you know, see how long you have left in the book. There are a lot of benefits. So how I plan to use them, going back to the point of the video, physical books are superior in my opinion, and over time you can have a collection in your library. How I plan to use it is physical books. If it's something I really know I want to read and I want to check out, I'll just go buy the physical book and just take a risk whether I like the book or not. This Kobo I tend to use more for browsing. So I just got this Kobo for about $170 at Best Buy. And I don't think I'll ever have more than 2 or 3 books on here at one time, because I refuse to buy a ebook ever again. I've bought some books on here in the past. This is my Kindle that I bought a few years ago. But to be honest, I don't really use this. I find it's very big. It's very, you know, to carry around, this and that. And the thing I don't like about Kindle, if you live in Canada, is it doesn't have access to the Libby app. It's not compatible with Libby, and you don't have access to your local library. You can't download books from your library onto a Kindle with the Libby app. Just Kindle doesn't allow it in Canada. I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, that's why I decided to get the Kobo, is because I can easily rent these books. And I just prefer it. I prefer the size to carry with me. Where I go, I'm going to be bringing it to work, and I like that aspect of it. But if I had to pick, the winner is and always will be physical books. So the physical book will be my main read, and then the Kobo will be like my side read, something I just picked up. I didn't have much thought of. I just thought the cover was kind of interesting, a little risque, so I was like, oh, I wonder what this is about. And it's not even honestly what I expected, but it's a good book, and it's very easy read. Honestly, in some ways, I find this, even though this is more for an adult audience, I actually find this novel easier to read than Harry Potter, with the language and keeping track of all the characters and whatever. Flush is actually an easier read, but I mean, Harry Potter, come on, it's a classic. So those are my thoughts. If you liked this video, you can feel free to subscribe if you want. This channel is mostly from my reading journey and my thoughts and my opinions on things, but you know, if my opinions help somebody along the way, I'm happy about that. So thanks for watching, and until next time.